Hello everybody, here we are today talking about Auston Matthews, the fact that he is a goal-scoring machine, and really that's the gist of the video. So before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So expectations for Auston Matthews have been high, even before his NHL debut, as he was taken with the first overall pick in the 2016 draft. So to be a first overall pick is already stressful enough as it is, but to play for the team that selected him, the Toronto Maple Leafs, is very, very stressful. So to pair that together, being the first overall pick and playing for an Original Six franchise that is considered maybe the hockey center of the world, I know you obviously have Montreal that's kind of thrown in there as well, it's still a big deal. But it seems like Auston Matthews really has been unfazed by all this in the entirety of his NHL career so far. In fact, he seems so unbothered by this that he's actually led the entire NHL in goals since his debut and is at 351 career goals, coming off of a year right now where things look incredible, where he has 52 goals, which blows my mind. But what blows my mind even more is last year he had 40 goals, so he's already got 12 more goals than he had last season. Things are progressing very, very well for Matthews, as he is on pace to maybe have a NHL record, or at least contend for an NHL record, as he has 6 hat tricks, which is the most since Mario Lemieux had 6 hat tricks back in the mid-90s. The most all-time is Gretzky with 10, so it's still up there a little bit, but there's more to it than just this. And one of the things that I am kind of talking about here being bigger than just, this season, is the fact that Matthews is really inside for some Toronto history, as he is 4th all-time already in career goals for a Maple Leafs player, which does blow my mind. I know that Toronto had some low periods, and there really has been some bad ownership over the years. Over really its entire history, there's been some stretches where you say, wow, that is not great. But in general, this is a very historic team that saw a lot of success, especially prior to 1968 with championships and things like that. Now, granted, some of that probably lower scoring, but now Matthews is just 15 goals away from having sole possession of 3rd all-time career goals for the Leafs. And it is just one of those deals where you look at what he's already been able to achieve: 6 40-plus goal seasons, and now with this 52-goal season, 51 goals currently at the moment, has secured his second 50-goal campaign in his career. I mean, in terms of things like that, looking at that too, all those seasons where he scored that many goals, that's a lot. But in recent memory too, there's been multiple seasons where he's nearly been able to average a goal per season and looks on pace to possibly win the Rocket yet again, which would be a big deal, as he is currently in the lead for goals by a healthy margin, and this would be his 3rd Rocket in 4 seasons. So to take home the award for most goals in the NHL per year by a player is truly incredible. Now, am I going to say that, that winning the Rocket is the greatest achievement you can have as a hockey player? No, but as an individual award, to say out of all the players in the NHL that are playing currently in a season, you are first not only 1 time, but 3 out of 4 seasons, and you are not even 27 years old, really speaks volumes to how good Matthews is as a goal scorer, and the fact that he could even get better really just is scary. And before I forget adding this in here, it is just something that blows my mind that last year when he had 40 goals, people were saying, wow, that was kind of a low year for him. That was a low goal total, which just goes to show you how much people expect from Matthews. And now we kind of get to go into my final talking point, which is really how far can Matthews go? Because looking at this already, he looks like a lock to hit probably 500 career goals and then some. He's not even 30 years old. He is somebody that's going to get a lot of power play time and has, or potentially will, if he captures the even strength goal lead this year, will have led the league in even strength goals 5 out of his 8 seasons in the NHL. So you're starting to say, what's going to happen here and how can this team really help him get to where maybe big things happen? Well, I think with how far he could go is going to be enabled by the fact that the team has surrounded him with pieces that are good and young. They have some things that they probably want to figure out here soon. They did get Nylander to an extension not too long ago, long-term deal. Matthews is already signed to a long-term deal. Marner is a free agent after next season, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to be pivotal for them to get to sign, because him and Marner play a lot of minutes together. But looking at this young Leafs, or the baby Leafs side from the late 2010s, and you can see that if you have a guy that's already played with some of these other players that are really good, they've built a lot of chemistry, and they've had some good offensive years especially, this is something where you could say, in terms of individual records being set, maybe even all time, you are set up very nicely with having potential line mates to get to play with. And going back to the all-time category, that is really what the whole thing is now with Matthews, besides the team achievements, is how far can he go with individual achievements, specifically surrounding goals. To be 26 and already have likely 3 Rocket trophies is a big deal, but you think even further that and say, what is he going to be at when he's 30? Is he going to be, at 550 goals? What's going to be the case here, as he's actually on the second highest rate for goals adjusted to an 82-game schedule in NHL history. I think Cole would have had the top spot overall in that category. But looking at this, I start to think, are we looking at the guy that maybe could be competing with Wayne Gretzky and Alex Ovechkin for the top goal lead in NHL history? Now, that's something that a lot of people have brought up. It's not just me. I'm not saying this magically out of nowhere. However, I am looking at this and saying you're seeing a player that is locked up to a long-term deal, probably going to be in that market for a long time. Again, we already talked about Nylander and Marner probably being there as well, and so he has good line mates. You know that the Leafs want to be able to put out a lot of money because it is a hockey crazed market, and with Matthews being able to do what he's been able to do, you have to think maybe it's not a guarantee or anything like that he is able to go out there and compete with these guys, but there is a chance, if he is healthy and has good line mates and he's able to score from wherever he's been able to score, from the variety of angles that he's been able to get in his career so far, you have to feel confident about that because he's going to get a lot of minutes. Again, he's been a guy that in recent years has been able to get double-digit goal tallies on the power play, is good for like 13 to 15 goals on the power play. And again, like I said earlier, been a individual that can score a lot of even strength 5-on-5 goals, great shot, a individual that can make things happen with his defensive ability as well. And I would say that we really should just appreciate what Matthews can do here. I'm not going to go out there and say he is going to be first all time in NHL goals by the time his career is done, but I will say this, probably multiple more Rockets in his future. He's going to be a guy that I never really promote gambling, but if you do gamble and you want to put a very small amount of money down, maybe he would be somebody you would consider. And for me, really just comes down to getting to watch him play because he is one of the better young players we've got to see so far in the NHL. So that is basically it for me for this video, talking about how good Matthews is. There's no real point in this other than just to describe what we've already been seeing from him. So please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new. Ironically, I talk about getting to see him, and I purposely chose to turn off a game that he was playing in yesterday against Vegas because the Leafs got out to a pretty good lead and the Canucks were on. And as a Canucks fan, I was like, oh no, I'm being punished having to turn this game off to watch the Canucks. I really was being punished though, because now they've lost 4 in a row. They lost 5-2 to Seattle, so maybe I should have stuck on that game, because at that time Vancouver had the lead when they were playing Seattle. Either way, that's neither here nor there. Just thought I'd add that in here. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Auston Matthews? What do you think he's going to achieve in his career individually? What do you think he'll achieve as a team player? And then where do you think he ends up all-time in NHL goals? Let me know all that stuff down below in the comments. Everybody, please make sure to stay safe. Have a great night, and you go love hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.